Matthews hit 50 in Toronto as the Maple Leafs beat the Jets 7-3 in a heated affair. Dave, why don't we get right into it in today's edition of Locked On Leafs?
You're Locked On Maple Leafs, your daily podcast on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Leafs podcast, your one-stop shop for all things Leafs. I'm your host, Mike DiStefano from TSN 1050 Toronto Radio, also known as Al's brother from TSN's Overdrive and TSN 1050's Leafs Lunch. Joining me, my co-host, Dave Morassutti from Sportsnet, also writer for the NHLPA. Locked On Leafs is a daily Maple Leaf-centric podcast, and so be sure to subscribe for free wherever you get your podcast from. And you can now catch us on video on YouTube as well. Locked On Leafs. And Dave, you got a little stick there, and we're giving away something very similar. You've got yours cracked open. You have terrible what's the word there? Willpower. You just had to crack it open to see if yours was signed.
I had it cracked open before I started with this podcast, and now I'm just didn't fully realize the big it wasn't in big letters on the back, but the disclaimer that this stick could actually win a big prize, and I'm just like, well, it's a little anticlimactic.
Well, now that you obviously opened up and didn't see it, but this one you can win, guys. You can win this one that is still sealed up. Have not opened it yet. You could win and find the golden stick, the golden superstar stick that could be in here for Auston Matthews. You got to subscribe. Once we get to 500 subscribers, we'll do a giveaway of this stick. Wherever you are, whichever country you happen to be in, anywhere around the world, we'll ship it to you as long as you are one of our faithful 500 subscribers. We're close, man. We're almost within 100. I think we were at 398 last I checked. So
we were at 67 yesterday. We're recording. I said I needed that 67 away, and thankfully our great listeners got us away from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we still need another 102.
Yeah.
To give this bad boy away. It's very nice. It's a nice little thing to plop on your desk, and you could potentially win big if you get ours.
That's right. Let's just stop talking about the Matthews stick. Why don't we talk about the Matthews milestone from tonight? Auston Matthews finally hitting the 50 goal mark for the first time in his career. Yes, round of applause. Round of applause. Auston Matthews. Way to get it done, pal. Way to get it done. Not you talk about anticlimactic, having to do it, with an empty net isn't really the way that he drew it up, as he mentioned afterwards. Not how he thought it would go down. But, hey, they all count, man. They all count. And that's just such a big number. Got a big standing ovation from the crowd. And I'm so thankful that he did it here because they got 4 games on the road coming up after this one. And which means he would have been probably done it on the road, but to do it in Toronto in front of the fans, and that was a pretty packed building, and like that was a heated game. Like there was a buzz in the building, and Toronto didn't disappoint. Like Matthews got his 50, and the Leafs got the win, 7-3 victory over the Winnipeg Jets. That was a really good game. I mean, the first 10 minutes, I would say, obviously the Jets take a quick 2-0 lead, and you're thinking, that's not good. Leafs didn't start on time. And then, boom, the second half of that first period, they started to pick it up. They scored, and then it was really all Leafs from there on out. And Matthews, obviously, a little late in the game, but did hit number 50.
Yeah, and it almost kind of brings me back to when Matt Sundin hit that milestone of most goals by a Leaf, and anybody who remembers that game will remember that it wasn't exactly the most trademark Matt Sundin goal. If my memory serves me right,
It wasn't quite number 500, where it was
no, it wasn't .500
overtime, shorthanded, hat trick under the bar. What a goal that was!
Yeah, that's probably one of my most vivid Leafs memories, of course. But when Sundin hit the most goals, it was either most goals or most points by the Leafs. It went off his skate. like it went off somebody else's skate and into the net, and I'm just like, I mean, he got it, thank God. But I think at this point you don't care how it goes in. It just
Yeah.
matters that it goes in, and that was something I will definitely like. I was very happy in the fact that Matthews got a great ovation from the
Mhm.
crowd. I think a lot of people who were at the game tonight were pretty much there to witness. It's history, right? Only
No,
four
absolutely.
players in Leafs history have done this, so I think it was a very worthwhile. If you had tickets to the game, you got your money's worth, and it'll just a tiny bit of a bonus as well.
Yeah, totally agreed. Absolutely got the money's worth. That was just a good, solid win, like a good team win overall. We'll get to our 3 stars in a moment, and we also have an interesting little thing we're going to do later on as well. Not sure if you're a big wrestling fan. To whoever, if you're listening to this, if you're a wrestling fan or not, but Dave and I, we dabble in it. I know when I was younger, I was a big time fan, and WrestleMania happens to be this weekend, so we're going to do a fun little exercise, I guess you could call it, a little later in the pod. We're going to put forward a WrestleMania match card using current and former Maple Leafs. I think it's going to be kind of fun. I've got 3 matches. You've got 3 matches. And we'll kind of see. We'll get your opinion on whose WrestleMania would you rather get a ticket to? And, so you can let us know. But if you want to get in on the fun, if you got a match in mind, put it right down there in the comment section. If you're here on YouTube, go ahead, do it. Or reach out to us on Twitter at Mickey_Canuck, at D_Morassutti, or at Locked On Leafs on Twitter, and let us know, what players you want to see in a fight or what match. Like, for example, Auston Matthews versus Mitch Marner, Hell in a Cell for the championship, something like that. So that's what's coming up later on. But to get back to the Auston Matthews, I mean, 50 goals. The thing about this game too, or what was interesting, like early on, they were really trying to get him that goal. I mean, you could really tell it was evident on that power
Yeah.
play that they got early there. They were trying to shove everything towards him. He was getting a couple of good looks, and Comrie made some nice stops on the power play early on. But there was one specific play where it's like, okay, guys, let's just play hockey, because first, like, Matthews getting 50, yeah, but we also want to win the game here, guys. And like Morgan Riley had a really good opportunity there on one of those power plays, and he just totally gave it up to try and get a cross ice pass over to Matthews, and it gets broken up and goes down the other way. It seemed like in the first period they just weren't really care. They didn't care about the win. They just want to get that milestone over and done with, and were trying to get it done, but they were kind of just trying too hard, and the game wasn't coming naturally to them. And then I felt that they kind of said, all right, screw it. I think in the locker room, Auston said, guys, don't force it. If it comes, it'll come. If it doesn't happen, whatever. I'm not going to be stuck at 49. We'll get to 50. Let's just make sure we get the 2 points. And that seems to be exactly what happened, because the forcing wasn't quite there. Not to say that Matthews didn't have many opportunities, a lot of which he created himself. But they weren't forcing it. And then that totally opened up the game and allowed this team to really get going. And then eventually he does get rewarded with a wide open, empty cage. He's not that often where Matthews is on the ice for like 2 minutes at the end of the game there, like extended shifts with the net empty. But they were like, hey, let's get him this goal here. David Kampf almost scored, and I almost feel like he hit the post on purpose to keep that dream alive, to make sure that it was still only a 2-goal deficit, so that Auston still had an opportunity to score an empty netter. I believe that.
I mean, potentially. I mean, if Camp scored that, it would have been 10 goals on the season for him, which I think
Ooh, 10 goals. Good for you. I mean, good for you, but like,
he's already set his career high, Mike, with 9. So
right. I
to get
think
10,
he'd be more happy with Matthews
but
50
no,
than
I
Camp
do
10.
agree that I don't think he was too disappointed about missing
No,
on that open net, because then I don't think the Winnipeg Jets are leaving their goalie out if they're down
3.
3. So
Yeah.
yeah, maybe there was something to that. David Camp could totally say that, and many of us will believe him. So very nice that it happened the way it did.
Just the 4th Leafs player to ever do it, joining Elite Company. Gary Lehman did it once. Dave Andrechuk was the last to do it in 1994, the year that both of us were born. It's been that long. And obviously Rick Vive did it a handful of times, and that's the next milestone, right? Next milestone's 55. Rick Vaive sitting there atop of the Maple Leafs leaderboard with 54 goals. The next milestone's 55. There's 15 games left to go. I mean, I say he does it. I think he might be able to even reach 60, man. Like 55, I think he'll cruise to it. I think this guy could get 60. He's got 43 goals in his last 45 games, Dave. 43 goals in his last 45 games. It's honestly unbelievable. It's video game stupid numbers that he's putting up right now. He's scoring at will in many different ways. I really do think that this guy has a shot to get to 60. I mean, that's 10 goals in 16 games. Like he's been able to do that all season long. Basically a goal a game.
Well, the next game is against the Philadelphia Flyers, who are not a very good hockey team right now.
No.
So this would be a good chance for Auston Matthews to put up a couple. But imagine if he like gets really close to it, and the Leafs are playing Florida. Like this would be a good time for Auston Matthews. Just like, you know what, let's go for 60, boys. Like
Yeah.
I can't like
Taking over.
exactly. But part of me also just like if he scored that 60th goal when the Montreal Canadiens come to town on April 9th.
That seems a little far-fetched. Like that's only what in 4 games or so, probably.
That's the 5th game. So that's in 5. We've seen him go on runs. I'm just saying.
I don't know. 10 goals in 5 games seems a little bit of a stretch.
I've seen him do it. I've seen
Yeah.
him get close.
Yeah. I mean, it's not impossible.
No,
Certainly
but
not impossible, but
I would say that I think for sure the mark will be that if he sets the new record in Toronto in terms of the single season record for the Leafs, and then maybe the 60th goal, if we want to push a little bit more, there's a little bit of a maybe nostalgia factor with the Senators game in Ottawa on the 16th. You know, where the first night of his legendary career was born with the 4 goals in his NHL debut. He gets 60 on the same in the same arena. Could be quite interesting there. And but I think 60 is not out of the question at this rate. And it might take 60 to win the Rocket Richard this year.
yeah, Leon Draisaitl, like they're trading goals back and forth. He's sitting there with 49 now, and looking at Matthews and being like, "All right, my turn." So he'll go in tomorrow and try and get back to 50. They've just been keeping up with each other over the last couple of weeks here. It's been a fun race to watch. It's going to go right down to the wire, and it could even have some implications on what happens with the Hart Trophy too. You know, like it'd be difficult to award like the Hart Trophy to Auston Matthews if he doesn't win the Rocket. I feel like, not to say that it would go to Leon Draisaitl, but you know, Matthews, there's just something about being the Rocket winner that would just totally solidify it. I'm not saying he can't win it if he doesn't win the Rocket, but if he does win the Rocket, that totally, I think, is such a feather in the cap for the Hart argument, along with the defensive play, which I don't know if you read this, but I saw Mark Giordano raving about his defensive play post game. Obviously, everybody in the locker room is being asked about Auston Matthews and you know what he's been able to accomplish tonight, and what Mark Giordano said. Instead of raving about the guy's ability to score goals, he's sitting there talking about his defensive play, and that's just, you know, very Giordano. But he's like, you know, I've been more impressed with how he plays without the puck, how he plays defensively. And that just goes to show how great of a player and a two-way guy he is. He's the best goal scorer in the world, just scored his 50th goal. And you've got one of the, you know, a defenseman who's been in the league for almost 15, 20 years saying, yeah, he's a terrific goal scorer, but like this guy can play off the puck as well. And it's just a testament to how good he actually is, man.
Yeah, I think we can't say enough how well he plays without the puck. We've seen it on numerous occasions, and yeah, I think this is what makes him. This is why I think the Leafs, the fact they haven't taken that next step, it's not because of him. There's other reasons. Like I think he's really trying to push himself to think more about getting the Leafs to that next stage than putting up the goals. It just comes with his natural ability to just put the puck in the net.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. He's a true talent, and Leaf fans are lucky to have him. Like just the 4th player in history to do it. in Maple Leafs history, a franchise that's been around for over 100 years, since the time of hockey, since the league started. He's just the fourth one to do it for this historic franchise. What we're witnessing is honestly magical. It's fantastic. And there's still some more time to go to keep writing the book. The book's not over, right? It's mid chapter right now for Auston Matthews this season. All right, why don't we take want to take a quick break here? When we get back, we'll get into the game. We'll talk about the game itself. Give our 3 stars of the night, the guys who we thought really played well, because I thought this was just like a sound, solid game outside the first 10 minutes. So doing my 3 stars is kind of tough. I want to give like 6 or 7 stars in tonight's game, but you know how I love to kind of finagle my way into doing that. So maybe I'll figure out a way to get all those guys in there. But you'll have to find out when we return. We're also, you remember, we're going to do our WrestleMania card kind of, I guess, duel. Could we call it a duel? I guess, like your card.
We're doing like the Saturday Night Wars.
Yeah, right. Kind of like a Saturday Night Wars, Monday Night Wars, like whatever it is, like my lineup versus Dave's lineup, and we'll see who ends up with the best WrestleMania card out there. You guys can vote, and also if you want to give us some suggestions, right down there in the YouTube comments as well. All right, before we get any further with today's podcast, we do got to tell you about one of today's show sponsors, and that's HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Get farm fresh seasonal produce and easy to make recipes delivered right to your door each and every week. It's all about convenience with HelloFresh. Not only do the ingredients come pre-portioned, so you're not overbuying or wasting food, but it's easier than ever to get filling meals on the table in a snap without options like family-friendly or quick and easy recipes. HelloFresh was fit and wholesome recipes for satisfying and nutritious meals that you can feel good about, with 6 recipes per week to choose from, including low-calorie and carb-conscious options. Go to HelloFresh.com/LockedOn16. Use the code LockedOn16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. That's 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. You can go check that out. It is HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit.
Yes, and let's also talk about our other favorite friends over at Built Bar. As I try to stick to my New Year's resolution, Built Bar has definitely helped me try to stick to eating right. They're not just great for you, but they're also healthy. They're one of the very few protein bars that are made of 100% real chocolate and have the first ever protein infused marshmallow. The puffs are our fan favorite with some incredible flavors like yummy, cinnamony, churro, coconut marshmallow, banana cream pie. So good. These are going to be your new favorite. As I said, they're all covered in 100% real chocolate. Yes, that includes the puffs. They're low calorie, high protein. You can replace your candy bar with these. They're even better than a typical candy bar, which can have up to 200 to 300 calories. If you look at built.com, most of their bars contain about 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. And they also come, if you want to look at their other great flavors, mint brownie, coconut almond, and new for this month, white chocolate cookies and cream. At Built Bar, they're all about the taste. They make it taste delicious first, then figure out how to make it healthy. And how about you? They pull it off every time. So make sure you go to built.com, use the promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your order. So that's LOCKED15 as the promo code to get 15% off at built.com.
Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. I'm Mike DiStefano. I've got Dave Morassutti with me. We are your hosts here at Locked On Leafs. So you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Also find us on YouTube as well. Locked On Leafs on YouTube. All right, Dave. 7-3 final. Maple Leafs crush the Winnipeg Jets. I thought tonight was going to be a little bit more chippy, I would say. I mean, there was like checks were being finished. I think we could definitely agree with that. There was a little bit of chippiness, but when we consider what happened back on December 5th, the last time that these guys played. I thought that we were going to see maybe some boil over and a little bit more fireworks. We did finally see it start to break open a little bit in the third period. Looks like once the Leafs kind of sealed the deal and made it 6-3, things started to get out of hand. Extra hard checks were finished there. You ended up seeing, the fisticuffs fly. Brendan Dillon and Kyle Clifford, which was really the only reason why Clifford was in the lineup, was to probably do that.
Yeah.
Wayne Simmons laid a couple of big hits too
Oh yeah.
tonight. He laid
December
big
train
ones.
was chugging along.
Yeah, the Wayne train was definitely chugging along. And then I was really upset, to be honest with you. I thought that Simmons and Adam Lowry were going to throw down, and the ref says, no, 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 we're not having any of that nonsense. Both you guys get out of here, he says. And we didn't get to see the fight, the one that we were all waiting to see. But I did place a wager at Bet Online, and it was over half a penalty minute for Wayne Simmons, because I anticipated a fight coming. 10-minute misconduct. Cash the over there, pal. But I still wish that they dropped the mitts. I would have rather a 5-minute major. But at the end of the day, the Maple Leafs 7-3 victory. I think it was just an overall really good game. Like, I can't necessarily pinpoint players who I didn't like tonight.
Well, yeah, and I thought they didn't have the greatest start, as you pointed out. They were down 2-0, but then went on to outscore the Jets 7-1 for the rest of the game, which is usually pretty good.
Yeah, no.
I thought Eric Shalgren looked a little shaky at the start. I didn't particularly like Justin Hall's play on that first goal there. I thought maybe he could have been a little more assertive in trying to get Paul Stastny there.
The second goal.
Sorry, the second goal, right? The first goal, I'm sorry, Mark Giordano. You got your lunch money taken by
Yeah, yeah,
by Blake Wheeler there. I mean, it was just a great goal, but it doesn't matter when you put goal down like that. Finding a way to come back. There were so many guys I felt like were catalysts. I think Mark Giordano helped with that. His first as a Leaf, that was nice. I think the crowd got into that once they realized it was finally his goal, because I thought for a second there maybe it went off Tavares.
yeah. Me
But
too.
Mr. Giordano was able to get his first, and as a hometown boy, and I think all the fans really did appreciate that. And yeah, and everything from there just seems like the penalties and like the Leafs really tried to make Winnipeg pay for a lot of those, a lot of undisciplined uh, play in this game, and a lot of guys just stepped up and found ways to. Even Carl Dahlstrom got a point
Yeah,
tonight, so.
yeah.
I think that's just a sign that everyone was kind of feeling it when everything was going their way.
Yeah, Auston Matthews even drew a penalty. Heh, how about that? I mean, that was a extremely blatant hold. And if that did not get a penalty, I mean, I'd be calling up the officials, be like, "Bruh, like,
Do you
what
need,
does
do
this
you need,
guy need to, does he need to be like literally shot down by a sniper in a Jets uniform in order to get a call? Like, is that the only way that we're gonna get a call on this guy?" So I'm glad that they did call which was a blatant hold on Stastny in the third period there. But I mean, you just talk about things clicking on all cylinders, firing on all cylinders. Matthews even drew a penalty today.
I was just like, it's one of those where like, do I need to call up my friends over at Lenscraft? Because I do know a few people who work there. The refs need a little bit of help. We can definitely arrange something there, but there were certainly some Jets players who got caught in a bad way tonight in terms of their undisciplined play. Like Pierre-Luc Dubois took a couple of penalties. Like it was pretty. The Jets really struggled with that,
Yeah.
which typically, I mean, they don't have a great penalty kill in Winnipeg. So usually, what's the best way? Don't take penalties, and that just did not work out for them.
No, no, it didn't work out for him, and the Maple Leafs made him pay. Ended up with a couple of power play goals on the night. Let's get to our 3 stars for tonight's game here, Dave. Why don't you start? Give me your third star of the hockey game.
Third star of the game, I'm going to go with Mr. Ilya Mikheyev. I thought he had a pretty solid game. He had many chances, and once again, getting another shorthanded goal. He's finding ways to bury those after we thought he would never score. So I'm liking that Ilya Mikheyev has really become a danger when he's on the ice shorthanded. That was great to see from him.
Yeah, I also had Ilya Mikheyev as my third star. Killing penalties. He's out there. The guy's an absolute horse, man. Like this dude gets two power play or two breakaway opportunities a game. It seems like, and now he's starting to finally finish those. And it's he's up to 15 goals this year. 15 goals, man. Like I'm curious what his contract's going to look like this summer, and if the Maple Leafs are going to be able to retain him. I'm not sure they're going to be able to, just based on what he's been able to do in the back half of the season since coming back from that injury. Like 15 goals. How many games has he played? He hasn't even played like that many games. 38 games. So I mean, like he's on pace for over 30 goals in like a full 82 game season. And with the silky mitts that he's showing these days, perhaps he could maybe do that one day if he's given a full-time top six role. He was my third as well. So I'll go to my second star, and that's the guy who dropped down from Mikheyev to go up to the second line. But I thought William Nylander had himself a heck of a game tonight, man. Couple of goals, both scored on the power play, but just all around, I thought that he was good. I thought that he was engaging off the puck, which has been the big problem for Will as of late. I thought that he was, back checking well. He was engaged in board battles, won a couple, and he was taking the puck to the net. And I think that's one of the differences between when Nylander is confident and when he's not, is when he's taking the puck to the net. And obviously he's done a good job picking up goals and points and whatnot on the power play. But, at 5-on-5, although he didn't score a goal at 5-on-5 today, both of them were on the power play. He still generated some chances and some good opportunities, which really good to see, man. If they can somehow have three lines of offense, that's really impressive because, the second line was also solid and was generating chances. I don't have Tavares in my 3 stars, but I do want to give him an honorable mention because he's been kind of a horse the last little bit, and I thought he had a really good game as well. But Willie's number 2. Who's your second?
Yeah, I had William Nylander as well for another reason, in setting a new career high in points with 62. He finished the night with 60. What now he's at 63 points. I thought and you mentioned this too, like when William Nylander is at his best, that puck is a magnet on his stick.
Yeah.
He can weave through traffic and bodies in the offensive zone like nothing. And I think, yeah, would you like to see Tavares and Nylander rekindle some of that magic that they had last season? Yes. Would it also be the worst thing if Nylander was a catalyst for offense on that third line? I wouldn't hate that, right? Because now you got someone that's a distributor like William Nylander. He can get David Kampf and Pierre Engvall into some prime scoring chances, and we know Engvall can shoot when he gets those chances. So it wouldn't be the worst thing. A lot of people said, look at what the Penguins did when they had the HBK line, right? Phil Kessel, generally not a third line player, but he thrived in that third line role. So
Yeah.
I think it doesn't matter what they're being paid or what their role is deemed. If they can be, if they can provide something for that, if Nylander can provide something on that third line, I got no problem with it as long as it means that the Leafs get those W's.
As long as he plays as well as he did tonight, and he had a decent game in Boston as well. This is a couple of games now where it seems like he's starting to turn it around and figure it out. Only took a demotion to the third line to get him going, but sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need a little bit of a kick in the ass to remind yourself how good of a player you are to kind of snap out of it and get out of your funk. But it's just the play away from the puck. If the way that he's playing right now, away from the puck and playing defensively, a two-way game, being engaged in the game, he can succeed in a third line role. And that just gives 3 lines who can play defense. That's 3 lines of 200 feet, like 3 lines who can play 200-foot hockey and put pucks in the back of the net. That'll be filthy come playoff time. And to have to try and deal with that as an opposition, like that's scary. Like the Maple Leafs, honestly, when they're playing at their best, a night like tonight, where they're all, everything's clicking, they're firing on all cylinders, they shouldn't be scared of any team because they can match up with a lot of teams. The goaltending obviously is a bit of an issue, but when it comes to offense, I mean, they can keep up and score almost more than anybody realistically, especially a guy like Auston Matthews, who is the league leader in goals, scored his 50th tonight, which is the reason why I have him as my number 1 star 2-point performance out of Auston Matthews, had a goal and also a helper on one of the power play goals for Willie. But I mean, you score 50, a milestone like that, you got to have number one status.
Yeah, of course, no doubt. I mean, uh, that stick had many chances. I was getting a little concerned that he wasn't going to get it because when you go through a game like that and you don't get it, it starts to kind of the thought gets into your head like, oh, is this gonna be one of those things where it's gonna take me forever to get past? But Auston Matthews shows he is not that type of player. Nothing
Not
like that phases him. You put him in the chance, you give him an opportunity to score, and he's gonna score. And look, that empty net was not an easy empty net either. Like he didn't cheap out and go for the tap in. He went for like the Hail Mary play almost.
Yeah, he was on the other side of the ice, right? On the other side of half. So that was, that's a long ways to go. And you just know that net looked probably a third of the size it actually was. Like with just the pressure of like, oh, I can hit 50 right here. I gotta concentrate, like all this happening in real time. That net probably looked smaller than it ever looked all season. All year, it's probably looked twice the size based on how many goals that he scored. It just looks so easy. That one probably looked a little bit smaller, but he was able, with the precision shot that he had, to make sure he got it down the ice and right into the back of the net. 50 goals for Auston Matthews. What a performance from the Maple Leafs in general. Also want to give, I said it was like 6 or 7 guys I wanted to give 3 stars to, so I'm just going to toss out another honorable mention to just the fourth line. I'll be honest, man. When I saw the lines this morning that Sheldon Keefe decided to use, I was very perplexed when I saw Simmons along with Spezza and Clifford. We were speaking about this in yesterday's podcast, how it seemed like a good chance to get Nick Abruzzese into the mix here. And then to see that, I'm like, really? That seems odd. And then I remembered what happened last time these two played and thought, okay, that makes sense. Okay, yep. He's expecting for something to go awry, or he just wants to make sure that he has the soldiers out there in case something needs to be done out there on the ice. So I wasn't sure how things were going to play out because that trio had played together before. It didn't look that great, to be quite honest with you. But I thought they actually played well tonight. Spezza had some jump in his game. That one play he made just kind of cut across the middle and then cut through the defenseman and right in on net, and then kind of got hooked there and drew a penalty. But there was a couple of opportunities that Spezza had to score tonight. I thought that he really looked like he kind of was, I don't know, like a little bit younger tonight. It just seemed like he had a little bit more pep in his step.
No, he definitely did. I thought maybe if you wanted to get Simmons in, you'd take Spets out and put Colin Blackwell in.
Yeah.
But I felt like Sheldon Keefe knew what he was doing there. He was sending a bit of a message to Wayne Simmons and Clifford saying, guys, we don't need you to score. We need you to make sure that Winnipeg doesn't feel like they can take any liberties on us, on the physical side. You got to be a physical presence in this game. And they definitely were. So I feel like they accomplished their goal. I feel like Colin Blackwell will definitely draw back in to the lineup. Sheldon Keefe did say that he is going to come back in. Also wanted to point out a little, I know we're ending the Auston Matthews talk, but a quick little tidbit. He was the youngest Leafs forward in the lineup tonight, and he scored 50 goals.
Really?
Yep.
No.
Mitch Marner and him are born in the same year,
forward.
but Mitch Marner is born before him. So he and Timothy Liljegren is the youngest player in the lineup. So Auston Matthews, 50 goal scorer, and he is the youngest player in the league, youngest forward in the Leafs lineup.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, Liljegren, Shalgren, both those guys, I'm pretty sure are younger.
Shalgren's older. He's 25.
I guess they'd be the same age. So depending on when the birthday is, I suppose. But yeah, no, that checks out. Wow, isn't that crazy? Like that's how
good he is for such a young age.
How good he is for a young age, but also like how veteran this team actually is, where they ice a 12-man forward unit and Auston Matthews is the youngest player. This isn't a young team.
No, it really isn't until you bring in guys like Rasmus Sandin. Even Abruzzese is not young. He's older. Yeah, he's around the same age as Liljegren. Like the youngest player, if he does sign, would be Matthew Knies. He'd be really the only guy that's like under 20, and I find that quite interesting. And I mean Nick Robertson, when he is up here as well. But I find that quite interesting, and like maybe that's also a testament to like Sheldon Keefe is trying to figure things out with these veterans, because even like Mark Giordano, somebody he said that he was the oldest Leaf defenseman to score goals since Tim Horton.
Yeah, I
And I
heard
was just
that.
like,
Yeah.
seriously?
I think that was on the broadcast, right? I think, Gordon
Yeah.
Miller might have said that. Yeah, that's insane. I didn't expect that, that kinda caught me off guard as well, like, that comment. Yeah, it's a veteran team, man. It's a veteran team, but they're balanced, very well balanced at this point. If they can just get some stable goaltending, it wasn't the greatest night out of Erik Källgren. I think if we're, like, giving out grades, he may have graded out as maybe the worst, just based on that second goal I didn't like too much. He just kind of lost track of the puck, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's going to happen from time to time. And then Blake Wheeler just made a really nice play. Like there wasn't really any egregious goals, I guess you could say. But I mean, I just think the team overall played really well. And again, it's going to be goaltending. Petr Mrazek's out for 6 weeks. He's done for the regular season. Could be done forever in a Maple Leafs uniform. You could like obviously he will play again, but I mean he could be done with the Leafs. Like if he doesn't end up playing again, I believe they'll probably try and trade him and trade that contract this offseason, find a way to get out of it. So this is the Campbell Källgren show. Campbell expected to start on tomorrow night, expected to start against the Flyers, but it's going to be Campbell and Källgren down the stretch, and they're going to need to have solid performances from both of those goaltenders if this team's gonna want to win. And look, I think they got the forwards to do it. I think they got the defense to do it. The team's gonna ride and die with the goaltending at the end of the day. That's what's going to really either help or hurt them.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I definitely. And like for Petr Mrazek, even like at 29 years old, like this is a tough. He's battled injuries quite a bit throughout his career, and like this, it's tough when that's the reason why potential exit. I mean, he didn't play well, but like also the injury thing, I think, is something that always has to be considered when you're a team like the Leafs. You need to. You have so little flexibility with the salary cap, and having guys in and out of the lineup making that much money is really really tough. So yeah, it's unfortunate, and like the Leafs really have to be careful here with their goaltending situation, as we mentioned. Like other than Erik Källgren, like Michael Hutchinson is indeed the next guy because Joseph Woll has been banged up. The Marlies, I heard that they had to. Nick Barton, who covers them, said they had to go 2 emergency goalies.
Yes. Actually, I have a tweet here of like how screwed the Maple Leafs actually were in this game today when it came to the goaltending situation. You follow Nick Richard? I think he writes for
Yep.
Leafs Nation. So he wrote this yesterday. Let me try and find it here. It was literally just like how dire the goaltending situation was for the Maple Leafs. He tweets way too much, man. He tweets way too much. All right, found it. So this is the entire Leafs goaltending depth chart from the NHL all the way down to the ECHL. Like every single goalie that could have been available for the Toronto Maple Leafs in tonight's game, this is who they are. This is their status. Jack Campbell, injured. Petr Mrazek, injured. Erik Källgren, good to go. You're starting. Joseph Woll, injured. Michael Hutchinson, good to go. You're the backup. Ian Scott, injured. Carter Hutton, I mean, who the hell knows what's going on with Carter Hutton? But
Apparently, he's injured too. From what
he
I
is
was
also injured. He is also injured anyway. And then Keith Petruzzelli is the other player who's within the organization. He's been playing with the Growlers, but on a minor league deal. So they would have had to assign him to an NHL contract and use up one of those NHL contract slots that they don't really want to do. And apparently, he also was sick. So he couldn't play either. So, you talk about the Marlies had to start an e-bug in a game a couple of days ago. They had to start an emergency backup goaltender who they called up at 5 o'clock, games at 7. They're like, hey, yeah, not only do we need you to serve as an e-bug,
Do you have a friend?
but also we need you to start tonight because Hutch is getting called up and our guy is actually sick. So you're starting tonight, pal. It's your first pro game. Like that was incredible. And then when you think about what that meant for tonight in this game against the Winnipeg Jets, legitimately they only had 2 available goaltenders in the entire Maple Leafs organization who were available for this game, and that was Shalgren and Hutchinson. That's where the Leafs goaltending sits right now.
It's such a weird thing, man. If you also look at the Growlers, they have used 8 goaltenders this season.
Yeah, ECHL is different though.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I interned with the Beast, like because the way that it works is you can sign guys for like a week. So they
Yeah.
would just sign guys, like players get called up to the Marlies, and they're like, all right, we got to sign somebody. A goalie would get called up, all right, we got to sign this guy. Or a goalie ends up signing somewhere else. And that stuff happens. So you'll end up rolling through like 4, 5, 6, 7 goalies, and a whole bunch of players. But yeah, it's crazy. Why don't we take a break here, Dave? We're hitting a 40-minute mark on the pod. We're always going late. But
We do it
before
for
we
our
do,
adoring fans.
yeah, of course. I hope you guys enjoy all the content that we give you guys. If you bet the over tonight, you won it. And I bet the over tonight at betonline.net, and that's one of today's show sponsors. And after months of playing college basketball, has determined the top teams for the Final Four and will determine this year's national champion this coming week. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info, from all the latest odds, contests, and player props, you name it. BetOnline remains the best spot for all your latest sports developments, including podcasts and reviews for all the leagues this season. It's not just basketball. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sport wagering and information needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino games, and also hockey. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. And welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. Maple Leafs with a 7-3 victory over the Winnipeg Jets tonight. A big statement win and also a big milestone achieved. Auston Matthews notching his 50th goal of the season. Next up, 55, which would be a new Maple Leafs team record for goals in a season. All right, we're going to put a bow on that game. Congratulations. It was a fantastic one. Picked up the 2 points. Got his 50th goal at home in front of the Maple Leafs Nation. Good job. Check. Now let's move on to the main event. WrestleMania is this weekend, Dave. You watching?
Oh, I'm primed and ready to go.
All right. So I don't know. You follow it closer, a lot closer than I do currently. When I was a kid, I was all about wrestling. Like I absolutely loved it during the ruthless aggression era, which some older people think that happens to be the worst era of wrestling, but that's what I grew up on, so that's what I know. I didn't know any better or any worse, but that's what I grew up on. But this weekend, it is going to be WrestleMania, the grandest show of them all, and I'm definitely going to be tuned in on it. I'm excited. A couple of Canadians in action. Edge, the Radar superstar, who's a massive Maple Leafs fan as well. He's going to be in action against AJ Styles. A couple other Canadians are going to have Austin Owens taking on Steve Austin. So it'll be the KO show. I guess the Stunner versus whatever.
Stone Cold. Well, the Stunner versus the Stone Cold Stunner.
Yeah, I guess Stunner versus the Stone Cold Stunner. Which one's better? I guess we'll find out this weekend. Also, do you know Johnny Knoxville is going to be fighting as well at
Game
WrestleMania?
against Montreal native Sami Zayn.
That's right. Logan Paul is going to be taking on the Mysterios alongside the Miz. It's going to be an interesting summer or WrestleMania, that's for sure. But what we thought it'd be fun, just because WrestleMania only comes around once a year. Why don't we kind of figure out a way to do a bit of a crossover, wrestling Maple Leafs? How can we do that? And this is what we thought of. Let's make our own WrestleMania cards, our own match cards. We got 3 matches apiece. We're going to be using current Maple Leafs, and you can use one icon. So, like every year, it's like The Rock comes back or Cena comes back. This year, Stone Cold is that icon that's coming back for a match. So we can use one icon throughout our match, and then the rest we got to use modern day Maple Leafs. Could be any type of match, any type of stipulation, for any type of title or non-title if you want. So let's get the party started, Dave. Actually, before we do, why don't we get ready and get set up the way that we're supposed to. You know what that means. You know what that means. We got to do it. We got to do it. We got to do it.
Okay.
Talk to the people while I get ready. Talk to the people.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, this is going to be quite. I've never done anything like this before. Mike's got some experience with this, so I've really tried to think of some creative ways to make sure that there it is. I thought I was being creative.
Let's go. If you are not on
If
YouTube,
you're not on YouTube right now, you are just missing out on the pure entertainment. If this is not one of our top YouTube watch segments, I'm gonna have to clip this segment, I think, just so we can get everybody to watch this, because this is
what is
quite
it, Dave? You haven't mentioned it. The people who are listening are like, Dave, what are you talking about? What am I missing?
okay.
Why do
So
have
I
to
don't know what we're gonna call you. We're gonna call you Lucha DiStefano, or we're gonna call you
Ooh, that's pretty good. Lucha
like
DiStef. That's
I
not bad. That's
L
not
like
bad.
L
Al's brother Mysterio, maybe?
like LAB or something like that. Like,
I don't
are we
know. But I am wearing a Rey Mysterio-esque mask currently as we do this. I purchased it like 2 weeks ago when I was on vacation in Mexico. I saw it, luchador mask. I'm like, I gotta buy that thing. I just gotta do it. It was like $15, and I was like, yep, sold.
They saw you
Look
coming
at
a
this.
mile away
Oh,
too.
it's so cool though. Like it's
It is cool,
dual
but like
color.
they
I look
knew
like
you
Rey
were coming.
Mysterio right now. I literally look like Rey Mysterio. I feel like I can do the 619
Minus
and jump and do
minus the
flips.
facial hair. But yes,
Yeah.
you got that.
Minus the facial hair. Absolutely. All right, let's get right to it,
All right,
Dave.
I'm gonna have to bring out my prop too.
Oh, okay. All right. Now he's bringing out the World Heavyweight Championship over the shoulder, thinking that he's Mr. Tough Guy, world champion. Well, tell you what, let's see who's the champion of matchmaking when it comes to Maple Leafs. Let's go ahead. Let's go through our matches. I'll start. I'll go through my card, and then you can go through, or we'll go match by match, and then at the end we could tweet out whatever, and people can vote on it. I'll let you start. What is your opening match of the night at Leafs edition of WrestleMania?
What got me really going with wrestling was the good old fancy ladder match.
Oh, yes, guy.
Not just any ladder match. The TLC Triple Threat Tag Team Match.
Bro, we got the same match.
No, we don't. Because guess what? I'm putting a little bit of a special twist on this. Because every team was sort of different, right? You had
Okay.
Edge and Christian, you had the High Flying Hardy Boys, and you had Team 3D, the Dudley Boys. So every line, every player, the Leafs are going to be represented in many different ways with this one here.
Keep in mind, Dave, you can only use one player once in the entire card, correct?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, how are you going to have a guy go through a TLC then go through the rest of the card?
Well, I agree. That's what I'm saying. I didn't want you to have like Auston Matthews in each and every match just for namesake value. It's like, this guy's going to break his arm after the TLC match. You can't expect him to compete in a Hell in a Cell. But proceed.
No. All right. So for team number 1 is Mr. Mitch Marner and Michael Bunting.
Okay.
So you kind of seen the theme that I'm going with here. All right. So line 2, we're going to have Mr. John Tavares. And now I'm putting William Nylander with them because they are technically a duo. So
Put them
that's
together. Back
that was
together.
my
They don't
second duo.
perform well. They don't perform well together.
They
They're
could
a little
surprise.
better as solo singles artists, apparently, where they're like Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy typically goes on and he becomes a superstar.
Whoever you think
He's
is
not
Jeff Hardy in this
tag team.
scenario, I'd be very interested in getting your opinion on that. But that is, and then
Tavares will be Hardy. I think Tavares will be Hardy.
okay, all right. So yeah, and then we got Mr.
No,
Elian.
William Nylander. Nylander definitely is going to do the Swanton bombs. Jeff
He
Hardy
goes for the
more.
he goes for the nice
Yeah,
style
he's the high
finishes.
flyer for sure.
Yeah, and then we got Mr. Ilya Mikheyev and David Kampf as the other. So we got 3 lines all representing a TLC match.
Interesting.
That's my first match there.
So there's your first match. I have the exact same match and stipulations. Triple threat TLC match for the tag team titles. Exact same opener. Because let's be honest, in my opinion, TLC 1 and TLC 2, the two greatest like wrestling matches of all time. Like TLC 2 to me is better than 1, and like it's just the greatest match in all time. Like I'll watch it at any moment and any time. It's just so many high spots in that matchup. And I'm hoping to create some here with a couple of Maple Leafs. My first team, the tag team, Ilya Mikheyev and Ilya Labushkin, the Russian Ilyas teaming up as a
Oh,
team.
that's
Yes.
that's pretty
Yes, exactly. And then what we're gonna do here for the next tag team, this is what happens every now and then. I brought up the Hardy Boys reference. This is my Hardy Boys scenario with these guys because every now and then they come back and they go off on their solo single careers. They do okay, and then every 3-4 WrestleManias they'll put them back together. And then they have a nice little tag team title run for a little bit. This is how I feel about Mark Giordano and TJ Brody. They once a very successful tag team together, partners, and then they went their separate ways, right? Giordano stayed behind in Calgary and then ended up going to Seattle, where TJ Brody came to Toronto. Well, guess what? It's WrestleMania. Let's get them back together, baby, and let's have them be a terrific tag team match here in this triple threat TLC. And then they're taking on the young Swedes. Rasmus Sandin and Timothy Liljegren makes my final tag team here. So the Ilyas, Labushkin and Mikheyev versus TJ Brody and Mark Giordano versus Timothy Liljegren and Rasmus Sandin, a triple threat TLC match for the tag team titles.
That is actually a pretty solid match. I am not
Yeah.
gonna lie. Not gonna lie. So we give the fans quite a great opener. And one thing I always loathe sometimes is understand that sometimes you got to get the fans to kind of give them a breather match, is like a lot of the wrestling fans like to call it. Nah, we only get 3 matches. We ain't doing that for us in this one because we got a steel cage match for my second match.
Okay.
We got Mr. Wayne Simmons, the Wayne Train, versus Ilya Labushkin.
Ooh, two tough guys.
This
I
one is
like it.
just fear out brawl. Let's see which one can escape the cage. The fans got to continue with the marathon here of just brutality. So I'm going with Wayne Simmons and Ilya Labushkin.
We're thinking way too similar, man. Way too similar because I
Maybe with the steel cage match too, because I'm gonna be.
also have a steel cage match
God
for my second card or my second match on the card. This was for the Intercontinental Championship though, because the Intercontinental Championship,
I forgot to do my belt. Hardcore title for mine, if I'm gonna give one.
that's a good one. That's a really good one. But the Intercontinental Championship is typically what? It's your mid level guys, your mid tier guys. So it's not your superstars, but it's still your mid card guys. So how about this one? Michael Bunting versus Darcy Tucker in a
Ooh, I
steel
like
cage
that.
match for the Intercontinental
I like
Championship.
that.
So that's what it is, baby. You've got I'm putting in my icon. It's Darcy Tucker, Michael Bunting, the guy who we all talk about. Darcy Tucker, Michael Bunting plays a little bit of a Darcy Tucker type of game. He's got that sandpaper, he's edgy, he can keep up with the Matthewses just the same way that Tucker was doing back in the day with Sundin. I think that this would be an amazing match to watch. So I got Bunting, Tucker in a steel cage for the Intercontinental Championship. How do you like that?
I do like that. I like the creativity of that. I like the match mix. If you're looking for a nice match that mixes together, you can't go wrong with that for sure.
Time for the main event, Dave. The main event. What do you got?
So I don't know if you remember, not too long ago, Shawn Michaels had one of the more iconic WrestleMania entrances in a very long time, where he came off of, I think, what are they? How would they describe?
It's
He
like
came
a
off,
harness, right?
yeah, on the harness, and he came into the ring like that. Legendary stuff right there. So I don't know if you remember which match that was, who that was against.
Was
There was a
that the
Canadian
screw
involved.
job? Was that the screw job?
Nope, but it was that opponent. It was the Hitman. It was Bret Hart. And this match stipulation is important in this one because it was an Iron Man match.
Oh.
So we are ending WrestleMania with an Iron Man match. And guess what? Auston Matthews gonna give us a little bit of that Shawn Michaels flair. I know sometimes he does, he's as you see with his what he likes to wear, he's a little flashy.
A little bit.
He likes to show that he likes to have a good time. He is going to go up against, and this is my icon, Mr. Matt Sundin
Oh, yes.
for the world heavyweight title.
I
Because
love
that
it, man.
is the best title there is. So this is a battle between two of the greatest Leaf scorers, arguably two greatest Leaf centers that they've had. And let's see which one is truly the icon.
I love it, dude. I love it. That's a solid one. An Iron Man match. 60 minutes of just pure torture for these guys. Who will get the most pinfalls? I'd be curious to see how that goes. I was chatting with Frank Corrado about this exercise, and we were chatting, and he said to me, "What do you think Auston Matthews' finisher would be?" And I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, I don't know, maybe like what do you think it would be? Think of something. What would his finisher be?"
For Auston Matthews,
Yeah,
I feel like he's like of that John Cena-esque style where he'll have kind of two different finishers, because for a long time John Cena had the attitude adjustment.
yeah.
You can't say his other finisher from when it first started. And
Nah,
then he
well,
had
it's called the FU.
yeah. So he had that one too. I don't know how that ever got allowed in the first place, but attitude adjustment a little bit better in my opinion. And then he had that submission move that he would bring
The
in.
SPFU.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Just WWE were just like, really, Cena, you really want those FUs in there, huh? And they're like, yep. So I feel like he gives me that John Cena vibe. Incredibly strong. You don't even see it coming some of the times, and he just never gives up. John Cena, I feel like, is the comparable for Auston Matthews there.
Well, I was asking what his finishing move would be, though.
But I would say that John Cena, that's the finisher, right? The attitude adjustment and
Okay.
against the FU. That's where I'm going with that.
Gotcha. I thought like, okay, maybe call it like he's a shooter, right? So I thought like the sniper, something like that, where it's almost like an RKO, and you call it the sniper, or like a stunner, you call it the sniper, and he
Okay.
stops me in his tracks. He's like, no, guy, wrong answer. The sharpshooter.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Ah,
Oh yeah.
right.
Oh
That's
yeah. I
exactly
can
what
see
it would
that.
be. Yeah. Corrado pulled that one out of himself, and I was like, yeah, that's the winner. That's the sharpshooter. It's exactly what he would do. That'd be it. All right, time for my main event, David. It's a 6-man Hell in a Cell for the Maple Leafs captaincy. That's right. It's not a championship. It's for the Maple Leafs captaincy. You've got Auston Matthews, the 50-goal man himself, taking on Mitch Marner versus John Tavares, the defending champion, Morgan Riley, Jason Spezza, and Jake Muzzin as the sixth entrant in the 6-man Hell in a Cell with special guest referee Wayne Simmons. How you like that, brother?
Oh yeah, the special guest referee is a nice touch. I had no idea that was actually a thing we were allowed to do.
I
Not
said
gonna lie.
anything, any stipulation.
Yeah,
Anything.
no, okay. No, but that's your creativity coming out there, man. The those 6-man Hell in a Cell matches, I just remember those. They're exhausting to like keep track of
I know.
everything. Um, like who? I'm just wondering, like if you remember, like some of those, like just some of the stuff that would happen. Like who's getting thrown off the cell? Who's getting thrown off the top?
Oh, Muzzin.
Ooh, I thought Muzzin would be the one throwing someone off.
No, I think Muzzin would take the bump. John might take the bump too.
Yeah, I was
Maybe
gonna say
maybe Tavares. Maybe Tavares goes off the cell. I could see that.
because he's a tough guy. He'll take some punishment to
Yeah.
get the job done if he has
Well,
to.
that's kind of why I thought Muzzin at first, but then you got me thinking. I think probably Muzzin.
Like who's crazy enough to even consider throwing a guy off the cage? Like if, out of all of them, pretty sure it'd be Jake Muzzin.
I don't know, Mitch Marner, man. I mean, that guy. Mitch Marner might try and do something like that. I'm not saying he's gonna throw him off. What if he does like I don't know, like a spinning heel kick and just kind of kicks him off?
It could very well happen.
You know, scissor kick him, perhaps. You
Potentially.
never know. You never know. But that's my main events for the Maple Leafs captaincy. I think that'd be a worthwhile match to see. Could you imagine if like they actually had like pro athletes take place in like professional wrestling matches?
We're seeing that kind of. We're starting to see it. Rob Gronkowski, man. He was the 24/7 title
No,
winner.
I mean like such as this, like athlete
Oh,
on athlete, like teammate on
athlete on
teammate.
athlete. Okay.
Like legitimately, like if the Maple Leafs in the offseason wanted to put on like a just like a wrestling, like a
Event, charity event.
backyard wrestling event, and you just see like Auston Matthews, Marner, Tavares, Riley. They get it. They make up some sort of like steel cage, Hell in a Cell, and they just fight. Like, I think it'd be hilarious. Honestly,
Oh, it'd be
we're
so
such
hilarious.
dorks, dude. We're such dorks. I'm taking this off. Oh, that's coming off because well, that's it. That's the segment. That's the segment
That's a
that we
solid
did.
segment.
That's a solid segment. We'll probably have to clip that and put that up as one. But hey, you know what? It's a good night. WrestleMania is coming up this weekend, and also the Maple Leafs. Another 2 points added to the total, and Auston Matthews hit 50. So we're in a good mood. So I thought I'm in a good enough mood to put on that mask in public and show that in public and have this conversation. You got your belt there. Fun show.
It's a
Fun
little,
show.
it's a little big for Auston Matthews, but we got it in front of him right now.
Oh, that's what you're doing there. Nice. Nice.
Yeah, it's a little hard. I don't know why I'm holding it like that. I'm trying to
Is
hold
that
this.
is that your way of saying that Auston Matthews would have won the Iron Man match?
I'm saying it without saying it. Let's just
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, that's what you're saying there, pal. That's what you're saying. And I think he would have won my 6-man Hell in a Cell as well. So it makes a lot of sense. All right, buddy, let's wrap this thing up. That's going to do it for us here today in the pod. I'd like to thank you all for listening and supporting the show. You can subscribe to the Locked On Leafs podcast on all podcasts and platforms and receive daily Leafs content. Follow myself on Twitter at Mickey_Canuck. Follow Dave at D_Morassutti. Follow the show at Locked On Leafs. And hey, let us know in the comments below who you thought put on the better WrestleMania card. We got to know. We'll also put it up on Twitter at Locked On Leafs on Twitter. We'll make sure we get a little graphic out there as well. And also follow us on YouTube. We're probably about 100 followers away now, 100 subscribers away from unlocking, I suppose, our giveaway of the Auston Matthews stick, still sealed, could be autographed, who knows. And wherever you are in the world, man, make sure that you subscribe, and if you win, you will get this. That's how that's going to work. I'll pay whatever postage it takes to get to where you are. So that's the stipulation there. But I appreciate everybody for obviously hanging with us. This was a long episode, Dave. We might have to split it up. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll
See
put
what we
the
end up
wrestling segment separate, but let's not forget you got a lot of time to watch this one between now and Monday.
That is true. That is true. So if you're listening to, I guess, the end of this episode and you didn't hear the wrestling stuff, check out the episode that comes out afterwards. Or it's already in there. We'll see how lazy we get when it comes to editing. I don't know. It's past midnight. Who knows what the hell we're going to do? That's going to do it for our show, though, today. Thanks so much, everybody. Good luck to the Maple Leafs. Tomorrow night, they're going to be in Philadelphia taking on the Flyers. Matthews' hunt for 55 continues. That's going to do it for us here today. Until next time, keep it locked right here on Locked On Leafs.